Hey, what's going on guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today we're doing a first impressions of the Under Armour Project Rock 6. So this model I have had a lot of asks on, so I've been super stoked to put them to the test. I bought these the other week and had them express shipped, so they just arrived this week. I put my first session into this model yesterday. That was a deload day with some conditioning and multi-directional work blended in. I felt like that was like the perfect day to kind of start training in this shoe, because with shoes like this, I kind of like to ease into them because their midsole is a lot different than what I typically prefer. And with all the changes in this shoe, I wanted to see if the upper was good for like lateral and multi-directional use. So it's kind of like the perfect workout day to start testing this model. So there are some thoughts that I have with the shoe, some good, some not so good, and I'm really curious as to where this Project Rock model is going to land on the hierarchy of shoes to date. So I obviously have my internal list that I'll share in my review of which models I like the best, and I'll share more on that obviously as I test the 6, because I don't want to share that and then change as I go because I place the 6 differently after a few more sessions. But my first impression with this model is there is a lot going on with this shoe. So there seems to be a lot more tech features in this shoe compared to the Project Rock 5. For example, we now have that clone upper. We have a reworked midsole construction regarding the heel to toe drop, the overall thickness, and just how it kind of blends in with the upper construction. You also have an extended outsole layer here. And with the lacing system, you also have a little bit of a rework, and you have like this external booty construction with a separate tongue. So there's a lot going on with this shoe. And now I don't necessarily see that as a good or bad thing, but I am curious as to where this is going to hit for other folks. Are they going to like the new features? Are they going to think it's kind of like over-engineered? I'm kind of in the camp of like being very neutral right now. I want to lean towards it's a little bit over-engineered, but the performance of the shoe wasn't necessarily bad, so I tread lightly in saying that. And that takes me into my second first impression. And so for my workout yesterday, that blended some strength work with some power focused exercises with some more like conditioning and multi-directional exercises. The shoe did a pretty good job. I was actually a little bit curious about the upper construction regarding its security, especially for lateral work, because this upper feels like it has a little bit more stretch to it. I was nervous that I was going to have some spillover over the toe box. I didn't necessarily have that issue. Now, time will tell as this breaks in more if that will be an issue down the road. So I will talk on that in my future review, but for the most part, the shoe is pretty standard in the gym. And I think if you're somebody who wants a model for a little bit of everything, the shoe should work, I think, for most contexts, especially for that person who wants a shoe for like some machine work, some barbell work, and then maybe some conditioning focus work at the gym on a daily basis. The Project Rock 6, I think, should work for most folks. Plus, you do get a nice grippy outsole in this model, and you have that tri-base tech, so you do get a nice firm base to train on, and I don't think slippage is going to be an issue in this model whatsoever, no matter the surface you're training on. My third first impression with this shoe is that it feels very thick. And so with this point, I try to be a little bit more neutral on the topic, because personally, I do like training shoes that have lower stack heights, that have a little bit more flexibility. The PR6 is very stiff. Now, the heel to toe drop in this shoe is brought down to 6 millimeters, which I do like, but you have a lot of thickness to the midfoot and heel. And so now what was interesting with this is going into this model, I was thinking internally like, this shoe is going to take a while to break in, but I think from the first workout, they did feel pretty good. And I think a lot of that does have to do with the upper and how it interacts with the toe box up here. But this model is very thick, and I think if you're somebody who does like more minimalist feeling training shoes, obviously the PR6 will probably not be your best bet. But that said, I do see where this shoe is going to excel for folks who do like thicker midsoles. And I think if you like supportive shoes, and if you are a Project Rock fan, I honestly feel like you're gonna love the 6 and how it feels, because this shoe I think feels a little bit more natural on the foot right away compared to the past models. Now, how that will translate over time, we shall see. But that said, I think the midsole can be very hit or miss regarding its thickness and lack of flexibility, but I think if you're a PR fan and you're going into the shoe kind of expecting that, I feel like you're gonna really resonate with the 6. My fourth first impression with the shoe is that I feel like it feels wider than the prior Project Rock models. And now it does seem like it's a little bit wider through the toe box, but you still have a pretty aggressive taper in this shoe. And I think what gives it like its wider feel is this clone upper. This upper wraps the foot really well. So it does kind of hug the foot well while also giving you enough room to kind of let your foot do its thing while training. So I'm not necessarily sold that this model is necessarily wide or good for wide feet, but it will give you a wider feel. And once again, you do have a pretty aggressive taper here, so I tread lightly saying like, this is a good shoe for wide feet per se. My fifth first impression with this model is that I'm kind of bummed that Under Armour increased the price on this shoe. I feel like we've been slowly like boiled frogs seeing the price increase in the Project Rock line. Last year it was $150, this year it's $160. So to be quite honest with you, that is pretty steep for a training shoe. And I think unless you are a diehard Project Rock fan, honestly, I would wait until you find a nice sale on Under Armour or these go on sale to save a little bit of coin with this shoe, because I think after taxes and shipping and everything, I ended up dropping like $175, $180 on this shoe, which is pretty aggressive for a training shoe that is designed to be a little bit more versatile that I'm gonna just beat up over time. So that said, like, I'm not the biggest fan of the price increase here, and I'm really curious as to why that is happening every single year. Is it because of the features used? Is it because of the materials? There is a lot going on with this shoe, so I could justify the price. But again, I think for most folks who are just very much more recreational with their training, the price point for this model is a little bit high for what it offers. Now, when it comes to sizing, I'll talk more on this in my review. So if you want more of a full breakdown, definitely check that out in the near future. But if you're gonna be buying this shoe before that review comes out, true to size, I think, should be a safe call in this model. So this model fits pretty true regarding length, and its width is what I would describe as like medium to maybe slightly lighter, and that is a reach, honestly. So I think for most foot anatomies, if you're like narrow, maybe slightly wide, or just medium foot widths, you should be safe going true to size in the shoe. And I don't think you're gonna have issues with the heel back here. So we do have a disconnected boot with a separate tongue. I do wish this tongue was gusseted because it can be kind of a pain to get on and off. So that is something to keep in mind as well regarding the sizing and security of this shoe. But true to size, again, should be the call. Now, I will have a full review on this model coming out very soon. I need more sessions in this shoe to really like nail down my thoughts on where it lands for me regarding its ranking in the Project Rock line. But if you have additional questions in the meantime, drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, drop a like on the video, drop subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next one.